Dennis Allen isn't smiling and nodding either. He's coaching with a level of intensity that brings back memories of those hard-nosed, nonsense defensive units. When you see players doing up-downs during position drills, it's not just about punishment. It's about building conditioning and accountability. This isn't a country club. It's a football camp. And these coaches want to see who's ready to grind, who's ready to work, and who's taking the process seriously. That kind of attitude is contagious. And after years of soft starts and padded excuses, the Bears finally seem to be leaning into the grind. That's going to matter. That tone is especially important for the young guys trying to earn a role. J.P. Richardson is the perfect example. An undrafted free agent walking into a room where he's not supposed to make headlines, but already doing exactly that. First with a solid spring, now with highlight reel catches during full team sessions. It's not just the circus catches, though those are great, but what matters more is that he's showing he belongs with crisp routes, consistent hands, and the ability to read coverage like a veteran. When a guy shows up and makes plays day after day, that gets noticed. And Ben Johnson doesn't strike me as the type of coach who's going to ignore that just because someone else has a bigger draft status. And that brings us right back to Luther Burden. His absence is still a mystery, and the longer it stretches out, the more it opens the door for someone like Richardson to take real reps with the offense. Burden was supposed to be a major weapon in this system, a strong, reliable presence in the slot, someone who could provide a safety valve for Williams. But if he can't stay healthy, or if the team doesn't trust him to be ready, the Bears are going to need someone else to step in. And right now, Richardson is taking those opportunities and making the most of them. If you didn't know he was undrafted, you'd assume he was one of the team's key guys. Based on the way he's performing, that's the kind of player who forces his way onto a roster. Of course, we've seen stories like this before camp. Standouts who fade once the real bullets start flying in preseason games. But Richardson doesn't look like a one-day wonder. He looks like a player who understands what it takes to stay on the field. His roots are clean, his hands are dependable, and he just has that awareness that coaches love. Throw in his ability to return punts, and you have a real shot at someone cracking the fifth Ty three-man roster. He might not be a star, but he's the kind of guy who helps you win games when injuries pile up. He's showing early signs of being more than just a camp body. And if Burden continues to sit, that door is wide open. Back to the quarterback position, Caleb Williams has all eyes on him. And while his arm talent is clear, what's going to matter more is how quickly he absorbs the offense, handles adversity, and responds to tough coaching. Ben Johnson pulling the plug on those reps during day one wasn't just about tempo, it was a test. Can Caleb reset? Can he adjust on the fly? Can he lead when the playbook's a mess and the coach is in your ear? We're going to learn a lot about him in the next couple weeks, especially as the installs continue and the defenses start mixing in disguises. Every rookie quarterback hits the wall at some point. The ones who rise are the ones who keep climbing, even when they're frustrated. So far, Williams is carrying himself with poise, but there's a long road ahead. On the defensive front, the emergence or potential resurgence of Tremaine Edmunds could be a huge storyline if it continues. He's always had the tools, the size, speed, athleticism, it's all there. But he's never consistently put it together in a way that matches his contract. Now with Dennis Allen's defense giving him a fresh blueprint, we're seeing glimpses of the version of Edmunds the Bears hoped they were getting when they paid him top dollar. Picking off the quarterback on the first play of team drills is exactly the kind of splash moment that turns heads, but even more important will be the next step: consistency. If Edmunds can be that guy every day, he instantly elevates this defense from solid to dangerous. And alongside T.J. Edwards, who has quietly been one of the more dependable backers in the league, the Bears would finally have the duo they envisioned anchoring the middle of the field. That's a game changer in today's NFL. The battle at left tackle is another fascinating subplot. Braxton Jones is the presumed favorite, but Aussie Trapillo is making a real case. During OTA letters, it was Amaji getting the initial looks, but now Trapillo is stepping up and getting first-team snaps and full teamwork. That rotation matters. It's not random. These coaching staffs are deliberate with reps. If Trapillo is earning more opportunities with the ones, that suggests he's showing them something. It could be footwork, technique, consistency, whatever it is, he's closing the gap. Braxton is still working back from injury, and you can tell the rust is there. He's going to get every chance to win the job. But the Bears are clearly not going to wait around forever if someone else steps up and claims it. This competition is far from over, and when pads come on, it's going to get real. The coaches want a left tackle who can protect Caleb Williams' blind side from day one, and they won't hesitate to go with whoever proves he can do it. Zay Frazier's absence is a quieter story, but it matters just as much. The team brought in Trey Flowers for a reason. When you start stacking missing rookies, burden Frazier at starts to test your depth. That's why guys like Richardson become so important. That's why this new coaching regime is harping on every detail, because when the injuries start mounting, and they always do, it's the guys you developed in August who step in and keep the team afloat. If Burden and Frazier aren't back soon, the pressure on the rest of the young group is only going to increase. That's when you find out what your locker room is made of. And finally, the tone being set by Dennis Allen with his no-frills grinned it out approach is exactly what this team needed. These players aren't being pampered. They're being pushed. The image of Bears defenders doing up-downs during positional drills isn't just for show. It's a message. This camp will be tough. These coaches expect players to embrace that. It's not about breaking them. It's about preparing them for the grind of a long season. Because let's be real, this team won 5 games last year. There's nothing to protect. There's no comfort zone. It's all about earning it now. Every inch, every rep, every spot on that depth chart. So while it's only day one, the signs are there. A coaching staff setting a new standard. A rookie quarterback being held accountable. A UDFA wideout turning heads. A linebacker possibly finally breaking out. Position battles heating up. Veterans being pushed. Rookies getting tested. This isn't just another training camp. This feels like the beginning of something new, something tougher, something better. And if the Bears stick to this path, they might finally be building the kind of team Chicago fans have been waiting for. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Chicago Bears. And don't be shy, drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below, and a move that could shake the NFL landscape. Rumors are swirling that Nick Bosa, the star defensive end, might be heading to the Chicago Bears in a blockbuster deal. That would reportedly be the largest contract in the franchise's history. While nothing has been officially confirmed, the sports world is buzzing with speculation about what this potential transfer could mean for both teams. Nick Bosa, known for his relentless pass rushing ability and game-changing presence on the field, has been a cornerstone of the San Francisco 49ers defense since he was drafted. His impact on the 49ers defensive line has been undeniable, helping propel the team to multiple playoff appearances and earning himself accolades as one of the league's top defensive players. However, the whispers of a possible move to Chicago suggest a new chapter could be on the horizon for the young star. The Bears, eager to bolster their defensive front and reclaim their reputation as a formidable team in the NFC North, would see Bosa as a transformative addition. Securing a player of his caliber would not only elevate their defense, but also send a strong message to the rest of the league about their ambitions. Sources close to the negotiations hint that the deal under discussion could surpass any previous contracts the Bears have handed out, signaling a serious investment in their future. For the 49ers, the potential loss of Bosa raises questions about their defensive strategy moving forward. While the team has other talented players replacing a defensive end of Bosa's impact would not be easy. It remains to be seen whether San Francisco will be able to negotiate terms that keep their star, or if they will part ways in what could be one of the most significant transactions of the offseason. Fans and analysts alike are keeping a close eye on any developments, aware that such a high-profile move could reshape the competitive balance within the league. As the NFL offseason progresses, the possibility of Nick Bosa donning a Bears uniform remains one of the most tantalizing storylines, sparking endless debates and excitement about what could be one of the biggest coups in recent memory. While the smoke has yet to clear, the prospect of Bosa swapping the West Coast for the Windy City remains very much alive, and all eyes will be on the next moves from both franchises in this unfolding drama. The first day of Bears training camp is officially in the books, and there's already a lot to unpack. Right out of the gate, the big headline, or rather the unexpected absence, was Luther Burden III not being on the field for a second-round pick who slipped out of the first round and missed all the organized team activities and mandatory minicamp. Everyone assumed he'd be ready to go when camp started. After all, he even posted a video on his YouTube channel showing himself working out at the facility, which gave the impression he was good to go. But seeing him miss the first practice is definitely raising some eyebrows. The Bears haven't given any official word on why he's not out there, and Ben Johnson, the head coach, didn't speak to the media today, so there's no immediate clarity. Nothing was mentioned yesterday about Burden not being ready, so maybe the right questions just weren't asked. For now, this absence feels like a developing story rather than a full-blown crisis. It's not time to panic, but it's also not something to ignore. We had 6 weeks off after OTA letters and minicamp, and Burden's injury was reported as a soft tissue issue. Normally, that wouldn't keep a player sidelined this long unless it's more serious than initially thought. So the big question is there something more severe going on with him, or is it just a timing thing? It's too early to jump to conclusions, but it's also fair to say that until we hear otherwise. This is a notable story to watch as training camp progresses. If Burden remains sidelined, it could open the door for other receivers to step up, especially Zacchaeus. He might have a real shot at locking down the slot receiver spot early on this season. If Burden isn't ready or reliable, it's only day one. So he could be out there tomorrow, making all this a non-issue, and if that happens, I'll be the first to say so, but for now it's definitely something to keep an eye on. Speaking of receivers, another guy making noise is J.P. Richardson, an undrafted free agent, who's been turning heads throughout OTA letters and minicamp. Richardson, coming out of TCU, made some really impressive catches on the first day of camp, including a one-handed grab down the sideline with a defender draped all over him. He also pulled in a slick catch across the middle at the end of practice, showing off the kind of hands and route-running savvy that make coaches take notice. This kid knows how to play. I've watched every game he's played the past 2 years. Being a TCU alum, I follow him closely, and he's exactly the type of slot receiver who might not have the top speed but compensates with precise routes and the ability to find soft spots in coverage. Beyond that, he adds value on special teams as a punt returner, which always boosts a player's chances of making the roster. There's no doubt that if Luther Burden were 100% healthy and ready to roll, Richardson wouldn't be stealing his job. But with Burden's status uncertain, Richardson could very well push for a spot on the final roster. Ben Johnson has made it clear that no jobs are going to be handed out freely. Players need to earn their place, and Richardson is doing just that by making plays and standing out in camp. This rookie receiver is definitely a dark horse to watch in this competition. On the offensive side, the mood from the coaching staff was clear. Mediocrity will not be tolerated. Ben Johnson was visibly frustrated during the first day of drills, especially with the offense's slow pace getting lined up. During several reps with quarterback Caleb Williams and the first-team offense, Johnson stopped drills multiple times because players weren't where they needed to be. Eventually, he pulled the offense off the field entirely. This kind of behavior is consistent with what we've heard since Johnson arrived. He demands precision and won't let sloppy execution slide. While some might chalk up early training camp mistakes to rust or a new playbook, the reality is that Johnson wants to set the tone right from the start. He's not interested in excuses or gradual progress on fundamentals like lining up correctly or getting out of the huddle quickly. It's refreshing to see a coaching staff set such high standards from day one, because last season the Bears often looked disorganized on offense, and those issues leaked into games. With this non-nonsense approach, it feels like the team is serious about getting better immediately, and that could be a real difference maker. Switching over to the defense, there was a big moment that gave fans hope. Edmonds making a huge play by intercepting Caleb Williams on the very first snap of team drills. Edmonds has been under the microscope since he joined the Bears, especially because of his hefty contract. The defense's coordinator Dennis Allen pointed to Edmonds' athleticism and expressed optimism that he could be a real playmaker this season. The biggest challenge for Edmonds has been consistency and instincts, but if he can build on plays like that interception and step up his game, it would be a major boost for this defense. Paired with TJ Edwards, who has been a rock, they could form one of the league's better linebacker duos. If Edmonds hits his potential, that would be a massive leap forward for the Bears and help justify Edmonds' contract. It's early days, but this moment was a promising sign. Meanwhile, the competition for left tackle is heating up. Braxton Jones, who's been sidelined for months, got some snaps with the first team but showed a bit of rust with a false start on the first snap. Rookie Aussie Trapillo took the first crack at the position during team drills, which raised some eyebrows since during OTAs Jones had been ahead in the rotation. The shift suggests Trapillo might be gaining ground in this battle. Karen Amaji is also in the mix, and this is a true open competition for the starting left tackle spot. The Bears seem to be easing Jones back into full action, which makes sense given his time away. When pads go on, that will be the real test for all three players to prove who's ready to protect the quarterback week one. This battle is definitely one to watch as camp goes on. Some other notes from practice: Zay Frazier was also absent, adding to the list of rookies not available at camp start. This might explain why the Bears brought in veteran Trey Flowers to help fill the gap. Carlson Loveland did take part in practice, but seemed to be ramping up slowly, similar to Jones. The coaching staff is clearly managing these players' workloads carefully to prevent injury and get them back to full strength. What stands out about this Bears team this year is the old school mentality the coaching staff is bringing to camp. Dennis Allen, who has a reputation for toughness and discipline, was running players through up downs during individual drills, pushing them hard like it's a boot camp. This reminds me of those classic training camp scenes from movies like Remember the Titans. It's a far cry from the laid-back vibe some teams have adopted, and it shows the Bears are committed to building toughness and accountability. After winning just 5 games last season, this kind of intensity is exactly what this team needs. Overall, day one set a tone of accountability and hard work with a few storylines already emerging. Burden's absence, Richardson's standout plays, Johnson's high expectations, Edmonds' early interception, and the ongoing battles for key positions all add to the intrigue as this Bears team tries to turn things around. There's a lot more to come as camp progresses, and these early signs are giving fans reasons to watch closely. There's something different in the air around this Bears training camp, and it's not just the weather, it's the energy, it's the seriousness. It's the way the players move, how the coaches speak, and the urgency that seems to be pulsing through every rep. That tone is being set by Ben Johnson and Dennis Allen, who are clearly not here to babysit or ease anyone into the season. They've made it clear from the first whistle that every moment on the field matters, every rep counts, and every player will be held to a higher standard. This isn't about going through the motions. This is about rebuilding a culture, one that demands sharpness, discipline, and effort from every single guy wearing that uniform. Ben Johnson's reaction during day one might have come as a shock to some, especially to those expecting a bit of grace while the offense gets its feet under them. But his decision to halt drills, call out the sluggishness, and even pull the entire first-team offense off the field, that was intentional. That was a message. He's not just coaching these guys to get through August. He's trying to build habits that win in December. And part of that means making it crystal clear that sloppiness, hesitation, or confusion won't fly. Not even for a rookie quarterback like Caleb Williams. In fact, especially not for a rookie quarterback. Williams might have all the talent in the world, but Johnson knows better than to let that slide without accountability. Because talent without discipline doesn't win in the NFL. It's easy for fans to say it's only day one, or they're still installing the offense. And sure, that's true. The first few practices always come with bumps, but what separates a good team from a mediocre one is whether or not those bumps are smoothed out early. Ben Johnson isn't giving this team space to develop bad habits. He's making it known that the standards are in place now from the jump. Because last year's Bears team was riddled with inconsistency, especially on offense. And most of that stemmed from details. Sloppy routes, slow tempo, confusion at the line, all of it added up to a team that couldn't finish drives. So now with a new staff and a new quarterback, there's no time to waste rebuilding those details the right way. And you can see that attitude carrying over into the defense.